Peace be upon you, dear soul. Tonight is not like the others. Something is moving in the unseen, and if you're still long enough, if your heart is quiet enough, you will sense it too. There are nights when Allah doesn't just watch. He moves, He visits, He tests. And what you do in these sacred hours can change everything. You see, the signs are not always dramatic. They're often quiet, subtle. The delay in an answered prayer, the unexpected silence after you cried out, the resistance you've felt lately, where everything seems to slow down and nothing seems to work. That is not a punishment. That's preparation. And the chosen ones? They don't get warnings like others. Their tests are final, intense, and precise. Because what they carry is too precious to risk. Don't scroll past this moment, because tonight, yes, this very night, might just be the last step before the elevation. But elevation is only granted to those who pass the final test. And here's the real twist. It won't look like a test. It might look like betrayal, loneliness, a door closing when you thought it would open, a deep silence when you expected a sign. Sometimes, Allah withholds light just to see if you'll still walk. Not because He wants to lose you, but because He wants to strengthen what's left inside you. What's coming requires people who can trust the invisible, people who obey not because of reward, but because they believe beyond emotion. That's the realm of the chosen. This is not your ordinary test. This is divine strategy. Allah is positioning you to receive something so vast, so sacred, that if you saw the full picture right now, it would terrify you. Not because it's bad, but because it's bigger than anything you've ever imagined. Have you noticed the shift, the dreams, the spiritual pressure, the unexpected tears at night? You're not falling apart. You're being stripped of everything false, so that when the light comes, you don't hide from it. You rise with it. You go. You walk in it. You reflect it. And what makes this final test so powerful is not just what it demands, but what it protects. Allah hides His greatest gifts behind the hardest trials, not because He's cruel, but because He's just. Not everyone can carry what you've been chosen for. That's why He tests you in private before He elevates you in public. So tonight, do not beg for the test to end. Beg to endure it. Beg to understand it. And most of all, beg to pass it. Because some doors open forever. And others, if you miss them once, you never see them again. Stay ready. Because the visitation doesn't come with an appointment. It comes with intention. It lands where hearts are prepared, where obedience has been consistent, and where patience has been purified. And that heart, it might just be yours. You were never meant to blend in. That discomfort you carry, that quiet ache when you see others moving on while you stand still, it's not punishment. It's distinction. When Allah selects someone for a mission, He begins by separating them. Not out of cruelty, but because clarity needs silence, and growth requires solitude. The people around you may not understand it. They may think you're distancing yourself, that you're changing too much, becoming too different. And they're right, you are. But not because of pride, because of purpose. Something in your spirit is shifting. You don't laugh at what you used to laugh at. You don't feel comforted by the same distractions. Your soul is sobering, maturing, awakening. That is not regression. That is elevation. Allah is not building you for the present moment. He's building you for the future call. And to carry what He is about to place in your life,
You need to be emptied of everything you thought was essential. Attachments, expectations, false securities. Not everyone who started with you will finish with you. That's not a loss. That's alignment. You are being pulled out of the crowd, not to shame you, but to refine you. Gold is not refined with gentle wind. It's refined with fire. And right now, you are in the furnace of divine transformation. The loneliness? It's real. The silence? Deafening. But that is where the Most High does his deepest work. When no one sees you, Allah sees everything. When no one understands you, He knows your every intention. And when you feel you have nothing left, He knows how to rebuild you from the inside out. Do you want to be ordinary or chosen? Because the price of being chosen is heavy, and the path is narrow. Chosen ones are trusted with burdens that break others. They carry storms in silence. They lose what others cling to, and they still say Alhamdulillah. They're not strong because they never cry. They're strong because they've learned how to cry in sujood, how to break without complaining, how to wait without cursing the delay. The test is not about surviving one hard moment. It's about consistency when life no longer makes sense. It's about praying even when you're tired, showing up even when you're overlooked, obeying even when it costs you. That's what separates the seekers from the soldiers, the believers from the chosen. Do not despise your delay. Do not resent the silence. Allah is watching how you carry what others can't see. And those who pass these hidden tests, they are the ones He trusts with hidden treasures. You might feel forgotten by people, but you are being watched very closely by your Lord. Every breath, every tear, every whispered dua in the darkness, it's all being recorded. It's all building the case for your breakthrough. So keep your posture of surrender. Keep your heart clean. Keep your intentions pure. Allah is closer than the pain, more aware than the world, and more generous than you imagine. The visit is not announced by angels descending or visions in the sky. It's often hidden in a quiet moment when your heart feels a peace that doesn't match your circumstances. That's when you know He's near. Don't miss Him tonight. You've been wondering why the pressure is so intense right now, haven't you? Why, despite all your sincere efforts, the path remains narrow, the silence of the night louder, and your prayers feel like whispers in an empty room. But here's the truth. Pressure only builds in places where something valuable is forming. And what's forming in your life is something that even the angels are watching with reverence. This isn't a random season you're going through, it's a final test, a divine filtration. Not everyone around you is being examined like this. Look around. Some people are getting by comfortably without resistance. But not you. Because you, the chosen one, are being sculpted for something that must endure fire without crumbling. The more intense the fire, the purer the vessel. Think about gold. It doesn't shine until it's been burned. The discomfort you feel, it's sacred heat, heaven-sent heat. And here's the secret. Most people quit right before the breakthrough. The enemy doesn't bother those who are stagnant. He comes for the ones who are seconds away from entering a new level of faith, strength, and destiny. So if you've been tempted to give up lately, it's because you're almost there. That's why the attack feels like it's coming from all directions. That's why your energy is low, your heart is heavy, and your clarity is fogged. You are standing at the gates of something life-changing. But here's the catch. Those gates won't open for just anyone. They open for the one who passed the final test with grace, trust, and surrender. Let me say something bold. If this test wasn't meant for you, it wouldn't have been assigned to you. Stop asking, why me? And start declaring, it must be me because I'm built for this. Tonight, While others sleep comfortably in ignorance, you're awake, spiritually and emotionally, because the heavens are watching. There is a divine visitation assigned to this moment, and Allah is checking who's ready. Not ready with perfection, but ready with humility, ready with faith, ready with the type of heart that trembles but keeps walking, that cries but keeps prostrating, that questions but still obeys. So what does this test require from you? It requires stillness when the storm is loud. It demands trust when the path is invisible. It asks for your tears without bitterness and your silence without resentment. This is not just about enduring, it's about believing while enduring. And here's the beauty of this test. The ones who pass it aren't necessarily the ones with the most knowledge, the most eloquent du'as, or the cleanest records. The ones who pass it are those who simply don't let go, even when everything is trying to rip them apart. That stubborn grip on faith, that refusal to bow to hopelessness, that is what qualifies you for the reward you've been dreaming of. Do you know why this season feels so spiritual, so strange, so heavy all at once? Because Allah is about to visit your life in a way that logic cannot contain. And the test is simply to prepare you, to ensure that when the miracle shows up, you're not too tired to receive it, not too bitter to recognize it, not too broken to honor it. So tonight, as you sit in the middle of confusion, remember, this is not punishment. This is refinement. You're not being forgotten. You're being remembered so loudly in the heavens that this pressure is proof of your name being called in divine realms. And don't forget, every test has an end. And when this one ends, it will usher in a season so powerful, so fulfilling, and so divinely orchestrated that even your enemies will say, only Allah could have done this. Now let's dive even deeper. Tonight's test might not come wrapped in a clear label or neon signs. It may come through silence, through a moment when no one texts back. When the room is quiet and your thoughts are loud, you may think, is this the test? Yes, it very well could be. Because sometimes the final test isn't about your outer response. It's about your inner stillness. The hardest exams don't come from hardship alone, but from how you hold your heart in that hardship. Some of you might be feeling an intense spiritual weight tonight, like something is shifting in the unseen. You can't explain it. You just know something sacred is close. It's like Allah is near, but silent. And that silence isn't rejection. It's the hush before a divine move. The stillness before the sky parts. The test is, will you still trust Him when He's not speaking? Can you stand when your knees are shaking? Can you keep your heart upright when your circumstances are trying to break it? Let's be real. When you're walking through what feels like the final hour, everything becomes heavier. Your past regrets come knocking. Your fears for tomorrow scream louder. But maybe that's the point. Maybe your final test isn't about escaping those feelings. Maybe it's about facing them with a heart that whispers, even now, I still believe. Maybe the real exam is not about what you say, but what you don't say when you're angry, bitter, or afraid. Here's a truth that might hit deep. When the divine is about to descend into your story, distractions increase, tests multiply. The people around you might even change overnight. Doors you counted on suddenly slam shut. The world might feel like it's pushing against you, but that pressure is confirmation, not condemnation. It means your breakthrough is close. Allah doesn't test without reason. He refines to prepare you for what you prayed for. Have you noticed how, sometimes, the test feels like it contradicts the promise? Like Allah said, He would elevate you, but all you feel is buried. That's because burial and planting look the same. And tonight, yes, tonight, may feel like a burial. But trust me, this isn't death. This is depth. You're not being hidden. You're being rooted. Because what's coming next will require spiritual depth you never had before. Let's throw a little challenge your way. What if this final test is designed to scare off the version of you that couldn't carry the blessing? What if Allah is checking, not just if you trust Him, but if you're ready for what you asked for? Would you still want the blessing if it meant stepping out of your comfort zone, letting go of old habits, or walking alone for a while? Here's something powerful. The final test always exposes the final idol. That thing you still secretly depend on. That crutch you still lean on. And tonight, you might find yourself face to face with that exact thing. You'll feel the tug to grab it again, but resist. Because letting it go is how you graduate to what Allah is about to release in your life. This is a sacred moment, a divine pause. And here's your whisper for the night. Stay still, stay present. Don't run. This moment is heavy because it matters. Heaven is watching to see your response. The angels are recording not your perfection, but your posture. So even if you feel unworthy, unsure, or unqualified, stand tall in your surrender. Because the next breath, the next hour, it could be when Allah visits. There are certain moments in your life when you'll feel an unusual stillness. Not the kind that brings peace, but the kind that feels like the silence before a storm. And yet, for the chosen ones, this silence is not a threat. It is an announcement. It's as if the heavens are clearing the noise around you so you can hear one final message before the shift. You start to feel unusually alert. Conversations feel shallow. Distractions fall away. And your soul keeps whispering, something's coming. That's not just intuition. That's preparation. When Allah is about to do something extraordinary in your life, He removes the unnecessary, the clutter, the people who only love you when you're down, the habits that slow you, the opportunities that lead nowhere. It may feel like you're losing, but in reality, you're being refined. Every disappointment is a cancellation of a lesser destiny. And when everything around you seems to fall apart, it's often because everything above you is falling into place. You may be tempted to fight for what's leaving, to hold on to the old narrative. But here's the truth. Allah is not asking you to fix what's crumbling. He's asking you to trust what He's building. Sometimes the final test is this. Will you let go of your version of success to receive His? Will you drop the weight of your control so He can give you what you've prayed for? Because tonight may be your last test before the reward is delivered. Think about it. People often give up not because the goal was too hard, but because they didn't realize how close they were. What if you are just one decision away? What if this is your final lesson in humility, in faith, in patience, before Allah shows you what He was hiding behind the veil of delay? And if you're thinking, but why me? Why would Allah choose me? Let me flip the question for you. Why not you? Who better to reflect His mercy than the one who's been through pain? Who better to carry His message than the one who stayed faithful in silence? You see, the final test is never about proving your worth to Allah. He already knows your worth. It's about proving to yourself that your faith was not shallow, that your belief was not for convenience, that you didn't just worship when you felt good, but also when you were drowning. This is what separates the crowd from the chosen. Many will witness the signs. Few will walk through them. And there's something else happening. When Allah prepares you for something monumental, He quiets the battlefield in your mind. The doubts, the comparisons, the guilt. Because if your mind is at war, you won't hear the divine instruction. That's why this test feels so silent. He's waiting for you to listen. Now is not the time to shrink. Now is not the time to complain about what left, what ended, or what didn't go your way. Now is the time to step up into your identity, into your next phase, into the prayer you thought He forgot. Because maybe Allah was never ignoring you. He was preparing the perfect moment. And guess what? That moment might be now. There will come a night, maybe tonight, where your soul will feel a gentle weight in your chest. Not anxiety, not fear, but a sacred stillness. A pause so holy that even your thoughts seem to bow. That moment is not random. That is Allah visiting your spirit in silence. No thunder, no earthquake. Just a breeze in your heart that whispers, be ready. Because chosen ones are never informed loudly. Their instructions come like rain at night, soft, yet powerful. And if your heart has been stirring lately, if your sleep feels lighter, if your heart skips during certain verses of the Quran, it's not coincidence. It's a spiritual activation. It's the unseen reaching out, calling you by a name only your soul remembers. Allah is preparing to shift something inside you that cannot be reversed. This isn't about motivation. This is about transformation. You're not being encouraged. You're being recalibrated. The life you lived before cannot carry the weight of the barakah that's coming. And so, Allah is making you feel uncomfortable in your current state, because your spirit is growing out of it. Sometimes, you don't recognize how much you've matured until you look around and nothing fits. The conversations feel hollow. The entertainment feels pointless. The distractions don't numb you anymore. And what once gave you comfort now leaves you thirsty. This is not sadness. It's awakening. This is not loneliness. It's a realignment. Allah never calls someone forward without first making their current state unbearable. It's His mercy in disguise. If He didn't disrupt your peace, you'd never seek His deeper presence. So if you've been restless, you're right on time. If you've been questioning everything, you're in the process. If you've been feeling like something is about to change, trust. It already has. The blessing is not on the way. It has begun. But it needed to start within you first. Because if your spirit doesn't change, the environment around you won't either. So Allah begins His side. He upgrades your desires. He removes the taste for anything that would limit your growth. And before your situation changes, your soul outgrows it. It's not that your life is getting worse. It's that your vision is getting clearer. And with that clarity comes a divine dissatisfaction. Because now, you want more than comfort. You want meaning. You want closeness with Allah. You want purpose over popularity, stillness over noise. You want something eternal, not just something entertaining. And once your soul wants that, dunya loses its grip. Shaitan loses his whisper. And your life begins to orbit around La ilaha illa Allah. Not ego, not trends, not distractions. Just Him. So when the world seems heavy, remember, maybe it's not heavier. Maybe you're just lighter. Maybe your soul has started floating above what used to weigh you down. That's not weakness. That's elevation. That's a sign you've heard the call. Even if your ears didn't catch it, your soul did. This is your moment. Let it transform you. Let it